lunch, let's go a little bit into tech. So what's the buzzword that you guys always hear about AI now? What's the buzzword? What's the one word that stands out right now? Gen AI. Yes. So how many of all are using Gen AI? We all are. It's just that we never realize we are. And slowly, there are those um, things that you don't see in front of your eyes. It's not like the washing machine, which you can see, which is getting into our private space, but it is not making anything faulty for us. But AI, Gen AI, and anything to do with AI is actually getting into our private space without us knowing about it. Do you guys realize that? Our phones are actually listening to us right now, right? Okay, so on that note, let's go on to our first session in conversation right after lunch. We have Jaya, senior engineer at Wayfair. I'm sorry, did I get your name right, Jaya? Last minute changes, right? She's going to moderate a conversation between Madhusmita Prakash Patil and Anuradha Amadulapalli. Over to you guys. Big round of applause, guys. They're going to drive you right after lunch. They need all the energy. So, Madhusmita actually is a distinct engineer at IBM. She's also, sorry, and Anuradha is actually the executive partner and Hyderabad location leader at IBM. So both of them are going to be sharing the stage with Jaya. Over to you guys.
Get that. 10 toes negative. Feel that? Feel that? Feel that? Any time of the day. Better make way when we pull up. On a new wave when to come up. We got the high end product. The conduct. Business.
Hello.
Professional.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I would like to start our session by asking both Madhumita and Anuradha their point of view on Gen AI and how it is important for all the enterprises. Maybe you can go one by one.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Okay, so for the Gen AI, I think for me, it is like a partnership between man and machine. That's what I think. And the way it is right now, it is a revolutionary technology that has now come into our everyday life, impacting almost all areas of the enterprise. You talk about customer service, you talk about productivity, you talk about employee engagement, you talk about simple code development or delivery. Everywhere it has an impact, and that's actually driving a lot of our decisions nowadays.
Thank you, Madhu.
Yeah, to add, how many of you here use Gen AI? So this is my point of view. Everybody uses it. It is not optional, right? It is not optional for us to use, for enterprises to use, and it is really a true transformative power. And it is actually changing the way we are looking at things. Just last Sunday, I was in a marathon run, okay, and then they told me that your photos are uploaded, you can take them. And I was searching for my bib number. When I went there, they just wanted my picture, and it came. All the photos wherever I was, and it was so deep that I mean I was hidden in some photos there also. It could grab the photos and show it to me. So that's the power of Gen AI, right? It is touching our daily lives. It is touching our projects we are involved in. It's touching our clients. It is touching our own activities. If I am a partner in IBM, I'm using it every day. Our clients are using it. So I would say I think it's more like it's not optional, and we have to be kind of gearing up and using it to the maximum.
Thank you. So even if you forget, there is somebody who will always remember.
True.
Okay, so my first question is to Anu. Can you help us understand how one should go about selecting the right use case, integrating with the organization strategies for Gen AI?
Okay, so I think the right use case selection is very, very important, as we all know, right? So it is not that we apply Gen AI everywhere, right? Because the investment we have will always be limited for an enterprise. And even for us, right? We as an individual, where we want to be using Gen AI is also very limited. So we have to be looking at defining a framework. So I am an acronym fan. So I just derived an acronym SVFR. Okay. So S stand for strategic alignment, V stand for value, F stand for feasibility, and R is the risks. So whenever we are selecting the right use cases, it is important for us to look at applying these four. I mean, these are primary. There are a lot of others, but then I would say these are the four primary aspects we need to be look at. So one is strategic alignment. So for an enterprise, every enterprise has certain business objectives, right? I want to grow. I want to improve my profitability. I want to maybe expand in a particular market, or I want to maybe increase my customer engagement. So I need to select what are those business objectives are, and then look at what are those business functions which are impacted through where I can bring in AI capabilities so that I can reach my business objectives more faster and more innovatively. So basically alignment of the strategic objectives first. So look at your goals, look at your strategic priorities, and then look at which are the business functions which need to be first targeted. So that's the first one. And then look at what is the value I want to create. We spoke about those functions. So what is it which I want to achieve? And what is the ROI I want to be achieving through that? That's very important. So we do not want to get into something where the ROI is limited. The ROI is very important because I'm investing a lot. I need to curate my data. I need to have the right infrastructure. I need to have the right computing power. So all of that requires money, and we need to ensure we are selecting the right valuable use cases. The third one, which I spoke about, was about how do I bring in the right kind of feasibility. Maybe that is a priority for me, but it's not feasible for me. I don't have the right data. Maybe I don't have the right kind of infrastructure for me to take up that particular use case. So feasibility study is very important. Maybe doing a small pilot first, looking at the results, looking at if I want to scale it, what is involved. So it's important to do a feasibility after that. And the final R is the risks. We all know about the impact of AI, the risks involved, the biases which are there, and the ethical considerations we need to evaluate. So these are the four aspects I would say are very important for an enterprise to consider when they are identifying the right use cases. And it's important to be thinking of this, coming out with this framework, coming out with what is it which I want to achieve, and then only go for the right use cases.
Okay, thank you, Anu. So ROI, feasibility, and risk are the key metrics to find a strategy. Now that we know how to find what we can solve, the next question comes is how. So my next question is for Madhu. If you can tell how to go about building the right skills for solving any Gen AI problems in organizations.
Okay. Okay. I think how many of you agree that an organization is known by its people? So I think I can see many hands, right? So I'll I'll just put it a very simple mathematical equation. Organization equal to the people that it has, the people that it serves, and the people skills that it has. So talent plus skills is what defines the people, right? So the way I would see that, how do we come and build that right talent and right skill, is through people plus expectation and plus creativity. I'll explain you why I say that. When we talk about the people, we have to invest in the people to build these skills, and we have to make sure that the people, whatever we're building, that is used by the people. So that's where you would see that you are building a gen AI application, you would need to remove the bias, you need to make sure that it is usable, there is no harmful content, that it is used in the right way, it is compliant, and so on. So that's where the people piece comes into picture. Expectation, if you see the expectation as a leader, you would need to define upfront what exactly you are expecting out of this Gen AI. And that's where your expectation setting along with your people is very, very important. So it could be like, enabling the people with various skills related to the Gen AI. It could be learning. At the same time, like Anu mentioned, the use cases that has to be defined, right? There you have to have those smart requirements, smart use cases, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Those use cases so that you can actually start translating them to the real value. If you do not get any value, then it doesn't make any sense. And that's where also you're enforcing some requirements, your expectations among the people, which can translate directly into building the skills. And finally, the thing is the creativity. Creativity is something that I would say it's a very abstract way, but the way Gen AI operates, we need to start thinking very differently, very, very differently. You have to be creative in our approach. It could be like, starting with one or two use cases, but then how are we creatively using it to solve the day-to-day problems? Or can I use this to improve the productivity? We still need people, but can these people be more productive through these Gen AI use cases? That is something that organizations has to think. And as an outcome of all these things, I think we have to have some kind of a way that people recognize how this is being used in the organization so that it can be, measured. For example, we can have maybe rewards and recognitions, or enforcing that these are the compliance requirements in terms of GenAI adoption. So that's how we can also enable the talent and skill in the organizations or the enterprise.
Thank you, Madhu. So in my organization, I have a use case where I'm using GenAI is for the customer support specifically, where it helps our customer support agents to serve user issues and solve them. I'm curious to know what should be our key strategies to enhance the user experience and loyalty using GenAI strategies. Anu, if you can answer this question for us.
Yeah, I think customer experience management, I think, is a fantastic use case for generative AI, I would say. And there are so many already very nice implementations out there, right? I mean, and all of us actually use them already, right? One is the real hyper personalization of the content, right, which we get, like an Amazon. When we are looking at products, it recommends the products based on our browsing history. So that is extreme use of no, the client experience, and then ensuring that we get the right recommendations. Then, if you look at the conversational AI, so where we are looking at customer support, being done through AI. I mean, if you look at American Airlines or any other airlines, or you look at any of the telecom service providers, Airtel. When you call, you get into automated AI bot, and they talk about what is the real problem, and then they try to answer that for us, right? And then the other case is Netflix. So it gives very, very focused kind of content based on our past viewing history. So these are all very close to the customer experience management. And your use case, which you're talking about for your client, is also similar, where you're looking at summarizing the client history, and then ensuring that you are recommending the right kind of response to them based on their previous history. So I think these are very important use cases, and generative AI is really helping in solving some of the issues very, very quickly. So customer management, customer complaint resolution, and also very, very um, relevant content being shown to the client, which is enhancing the whole experience for the client. And during COVID times, there was a fantastic use case which was there in the net about supporting the patients itself. The doctors supporting through an automated response and giving the right kind of advice based on the patient history. So I think there are so many use cases out there which are very, very user oriented, which is helping them to improve the whole client experience. And this is improving the loyalty as well. So there are a lot of examples where airlines have improved the whole loyalty program of theirs based on understanding the customer, the travel pattern, and giving them the right kind of rewards, which help them retain those clients. So I think loyalty, customer engagement experience of the whole clients across various sectors and industry is really improved, is really improving, I would say, with the use of Gen AI. And I can go on, right? I mean, with a number of use cases which are out there.
Thanks, Anu. Yeah, but what worries me is the biasness which can come with these use cases. So, to continue on that, an unmonitored system can really cause more damage than the benefits. So, my ask to Madhu is to tell us how should organizations go about securing organizational data and monitoring the Gen AI systems?
I think that's a very, very interesting question. And Anu mentioned a lot of use cases, and you brought up the point of bias, right? Um, I remember how many, I don't know how many of you have used the facial recognition systems that was used earlier, right? Anybody has noticed that if you belong to a specific geo, I mean, or specific color, complexion, your age might look younger, and or your the detection technique comes in and it says that okay, you are young. Whereas for a specific complexion, it might put you as an older person or a higher age. So that's where the bias comes into picture. And when I look at this whole thing, we know that these are bound to happen. We call it as, in terms of the Gen AI or AI, we call it as white boxes and the black boxes. White box is something where you would see that things are what parameters it has been tuned in, what parameters have been used to train the model, and then you manipulate those and then come out with some of the results. And black box is something where there is you don't have any access to those data, but still you have used the output of the model to come up with something where you would see that okay, this is how I can attack the system and this is how I can introduce bias. So the point that I'm trying to bring in here is it's all on the data, because that data is the oil that is used to build these AI systems or the models. Now, if the oil is dirty, it will muddle everything, right? It will make it dirty. But if you are able to use the data right way, it's a gold mine. It is sitting there and it is able to bring in the right results, right values. So now when we talk about data, we talk about models, we talk about, whatever algorithms, the thing that brings all of this together is the platform on which you are building this. And to have that platform monitored, to have this data monitored, to have that whole life cycle maintained, make sure that the things are done right way, there is no bias, that I mean, I would say that lesser bias, proper quality of data manipulation is not there. People who has the right access control are able to access the models. Model manipulation, model inversion techniques are also identified upfront. We need to come up with a governance. So I don't know how many of the organizations use AI governance, because AI or Gen AI is pretty new field and standards are still evolving. Organizations are still maturing in this front, but the governance has to be established. And when I talk about the governance, I'm not talking about only at the AI model level, it is at each and every layer, because it has to start from the data. What kind of data gets into the system? Who are the partners providing to the system? What are the sources of the data? All those things. It is not in bits and pieces, it is in a holistic way, it has to be modeled. Plus, the model, the way it has been built, which algorithms went in, how was it trained, what was the is there any bias in a way, is there any bias, any any intruder that can come into the system? Those kind of things, the monitoring part of it, the security part of it, that needs to be established. And to have all of this, I think there are three things that we would need to do. First is establish a governance board. Governance board establishment is very, very important, which can actually enforce that while building an AI application, there is a governance in place. Second thing, make someone accountable. It it has to be have the we need to have the right people. It could be IT plus business plus finance, but the right stakeholders were invested in this governance. Otherwise, it would not be possible. Third thing is you need to have the right kind of tools and the selections in place so that the governance can be done across the AI application lifecycle. Because it is not like I'll do only in production. Only when there is a bias detected, I will then come back and do it. It has to be across all the stages. So the governance has to be established, and that is very, very important. Security, it's a very, very different topic. There are multiple levels of security, like application security, cyber security, and yeah, network security we can also call, and so on. So then we have to talk about the data security. We have to talk about how do we make sure the data is secured. How do we make sure that a model is secured? How do I make sure the application is secured? So again, this has to be enforced as part of the governance life cycle. And then the final thing that I would say is the compliance, because I know the AI, the compliance rules and regulations around AI applications are evolving, because right now everything that we do on online, it is all available in public. So we don't know who is using for what purpose. And you do a search in Google, and then you would see that, okay, based on your past history and things, there are search results that has been presented and things. It is both good, and both in a way also impacts our own information, our own personal information, right? So all these things can be in a way managed through the right kind of governance setup, and I think that is what is very, very important.
Okay, thank you, Madhu. So I'm going to throw this question out and put you guys on the spot, but I selfishly want to learn from you. I want to know, how do you drive innovation in Gen AI in your organization?
Right. Yeah. So I think I'll just tell one thing. Like, all of us have mobile phones, the smartphones, right? Mobile phones, you can say it's a co-pilot, you can say it's used as an assistant, but still the operator is you. You are using your mobile phone. So it is us, or for an organization, it is the organization which is actually driving the AI applications. So we have to make sure that it is people focused with the right expectation, and with a mix of creativity. At the same time, establishing that governance life cycle is very important in delivering or using GenAI applications in your organization.
Thank you. Anu, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would say continuously innovate, um, and look at having the right strategy, the right kind of agility, and the right impact. Those are the three things I would say: strategy, agility, and impact. And lead really, right, from the front. Uh, Pick up the use case and really lead from the front, because this is the best time. And fail fast is what I would say. So it's important that each one in this room look at learning Gen AI, first of all, look at picking up a small use case and try it out, right? In your own project, in your own client engagement, or whatever you're doing, right? Apply, because whatever you're doing, Gen AI is applicable. And really get into the game and really start learning and applying it, I would say.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
you have actually half answered my next question, but I'll still going to ask, what is the one thing you want this audience to get as a takeaway from this session?
Okay. I think be creative in using the GenAI application. That is what I would say. Just be very, very creative. There are so many options available, and while being creative, uh, make sure that we don't lose on the ethical part of the AI, because that is very important. Uh, we don't lose our personal information or personal priorities personal data as while we use the GenAI applications, and keep on, as Anu said, keep on experimenting, be creative as much as possible.
Thank you. Anything you want to add on to?
So yeah, continuously innovate and be a brand for GenAI implementation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anuradha and Madhumita, for your thoughts and give us a blueprint to start on our GenAI journey within our organizations. With that, I would like to open it up for the audience to ask any question if we have for our panelists here. Uh,
Where is that?
Thank you, madam, for that insightful session. I had a question on responsible AI. Like what is the depth that we can collect data? Like, do you have some examples on that?
so the question is about responsible AI. What data should we be collecting, and any follow up on
Any examples?
any examples which you have?
Right. Okay. I'll tell. I'll give you a small example. Right. I was working with a banking client, and I was trying to understand what is their problem and how do we solve using AI or Gen AI. And the problem statement was very this unique. Like all of us has credit cards, debit cards. Okay. So people, when something happens to your credit card, it's lost, or a debit card is lost, or maybe not working. Very simple, it's not working. Something happened and it's not working. The way people would reach out to the bank is they would, they think the bank is their source of the trusted system, source of truth. Okay. So they would either call up, they don't understand whether it is the person who, how much, whether they can trust, how much trust they should emphasize, or even they mail, they start saying, okay, this is my credit card number, this is my debit card number, or this is my PIN number, this is my personal data, so you see that what if I'm just using the data as is, what am I doing? I'm actually taking all this personal information and trying to, and it can be manipulated. It's not that I might not have developed an algorithm, or might not have, my intention might not have, as a developer, my intention have not been that I will manipulate or I will misuse this data. But from a hacker perspective, that data can be, misused very easily. So first thing, as a developer, I need to make sure that whatever data I'm using for processing, I need to make sure that that doesn't contain any personal information, or it is not used for some harmful purpose. As an architect or a designer of the AI system, I need to make sure what data am I collecting, what are my sources of data, can I make sure that that is not, that doesn't contain any kind of information that can be manipulated or can result into a harmful behavior of the system. That is what would be my first thing as a responsible AI application designer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Puma, this question is to, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Anupama. This question is to Ms. Madhusmita. See, you spoke about the data governance, and also just now you said about the use case of the pins being stolen. My question is exactly the same. If you remember somewhere in 2000, 2005, it spoke about service-oriented architectures, where we had HIPAA and several other things. But over a period of time, when it came to GenAI, data is liberalized. And none of the organizations are actually ready with the data governance. But if you see in the industry, the use cases comes from the data that we have been using earlier, be it mainframes for any financial institutions, banks, or the diagnostic centers. So from your experience of working with clients, how could the old standards be replicated back? Because there seems to be not many of the organizations which are having the standards. We are not there actually as an industry. We are everybody in hungry to learn and use the GenAI. But lot of, instead of tech for good, tech for bad is happening, right from pornography. So from your experience of working for various clients, what is that you would like the architects to think about?
Can you repeat the last part? I couldn't hear.
Architects, because you are a distinguished engineer, what is your message to the architects from the industry use cases? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think first thing I will say is not every problem can be solved by Gen AI. I mean, there are solutions using Gen AI, but don't jump into technology part of it. The first thing I said that people, keep people as your focus so that it doesn't harm the people, it does not use the information of the people in a negative way. So that is what the architect, even as an architect, you can actually define solutions which take care of it. So your use case prioritization can actually be in a way that it doesn't compromise on the data, personal data, or things which can result in a harmful behavior. That would be the first thing. And the second thing that I would say in terms of the Gen AI application, in terms of compliance, I understand that, and I am aware that the industry standards are definitely evolving. We don't have necessary standards in place still, but still there are compliance requirements. Like Australia has APRA, then your UK has European data regulation compliance. So make sure that the application that gets designed, at least from a deployment perspective, at least from your development, model tuning, and testing perspective, aligns to those data requirements. And the third thing that I would say it, make sure that your application security, who is able to access the model, who is able to access your application, who is able to access your data, who has the right to manipulate or do changes to the data, that you are able to define properly. So that is very, very important. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Madhusmita, hi
Hi.
Anu, and hi. So my question is, anyone can answer. So my question is like, so these days we are seeing a lot of deep fakes. So what measures are being taken to avoid these type of things and other malicious applications of Gen AI? So, because these are causing a lot of negative impact on people's lives.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question. And one of the major problems is the cyber attack on this AI, right? Deepfakes, especially in using mimicking your voice, mimicking your images, facial images, and so on. So yes, so in your while developing itself, you can have techniques which can actually prevent this kind of deepfakes. Okay, and there are tools which can actually run and which can say that okay, this model output can be a deepfake. So we call it as like the model manipulation, model inversion techniques that I was telling a little bit earlier. So those techniques, as part of the testing process of the AI model, we need to ensure that the models are protected from such kind of challenges like the manipulation, inversion, or which can result in a deep fake. So those kind of things can be part of your testing process. And of course, model development, as I said, has to be uh, it's a developer responsibility, but has to be put as part of your compliance or organization guideline to develop right way.
So you mean to say that social media platforms should also have this algorithm to check what all content is being published on their websites?
Yeah. Yes. Content filtration. Content filtration also is a technique that the social media sites can actually do. So that can actually identify which. I mean, I'm just giving you an example of an image. Which image has been created using a fake? So those filtration can be put in place. Yes, that needs a lot of law and regulatory guideline alignment, but I think I'm sure that it would come in as part of the next generation of AI.
Right. Thank you.
By the way, I just want to add, this is already being applied in the publishing industry. So when you're writing a book,
Copyright.
so they really check whether it's a Gen AI generated content or it is a real author generated content. It's already applied. Yes, we agree that it has to be applied in the media, social media as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we've run out of time.
Yeah, I think we're on time.
One last question anybody has, or can we close?
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
uh, when I do is these kind of innovations, right? There are so many ideas which has come in. Now there was this idea which I talked about where we are responding to customer. There was another idea which was specifically for tech transformation, that how we can get out of say old DB to new DB, all kind of thing, right? And then there were ideas which can be solved with normal flow based systems. We don't even know need Gen AI there. So what do you think, how I should monitor these kinds of ideas, decide which one should actually be Gen AI versus which one I should just go with a flow based if else kind of things?
Uh, I can, so we typically, as part of project management practices, we look at applying a technique. Look at that particular process. Can I simplify it? Can I eliminate it? Can I automate it? So basically, these are the three principles we should be using for any process. So if the process is not required, then remove it completely. Why making it efficient? So you have to simplify, or else. If the process is taking a lot of time, we have to be looking at what are the elements which are not required so that I can optimize the whole process itself. Basically, simplification, the elimination, and then automation. So as part of automation, you can apply traditional automation, you can apply AI, or you can apply generative AI, right? So depending on the use case, we should be looking at, in fact, I would say 80% of the use cases are for automation and not for generative AI. So generative AI can sit over that, but then we have to be looking at how do we automate it also, right? So yeah, I think it's very interesting to analyze each process and then see, and I've seen almost 40% of the process can be eliminated completely. And that's the first step. There's no point applying Gen AI for an inefficient process, right? So that's what I would suggest.
Okay, thanks, Tanu. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank you.
Madhumita.
Thank you.
You have answered. I'm
I
sorry.
know, I just wanted to add one thing. I think in some cases, I mean, elimination, automation, everything you have to do. At the same time, maybe you want to evaluate the cost benefit, that cost benefit analysis, because Gen AI demands certain specific skills, technology, infrastructure. So the investment should justify the use case automation or
Yeah.
the
ROI, we covered it in the
ROI.
first
Yes,
session. Okay.
exactly.
Thank you
I
so
have
much.
just one last question. Exactly on the cost benefit analysis. Thank you, Madhu and Anu. Innovation, we know it's typically an investment by any enterprise, right, to catch up with the future. But with the pace of change that AI or Gen AI is going through, the moment you have built an application or an idea, implemented it 3 months down the line, it is rendering obsolete, right? We know the algorithms itself, LLM models have changed from over the past 9 months. So how two points around that. One is keeping pace with the change as an enterprise, skilling and reskilling as an enterprise. Above all, there is also the developer or the architect community who has skilled up, got some level of expertise to implement, suddenly goes obsolete. So it's always a catching up game. In this scenario, is there any framework that you as an organization follow, track to keep pace and move ahead?
Okay. I think very interesting question again. So one thing I'll tell you, skilling, reskilling, it's a norm now because the way the technology is evolving, this is what it is. But at the same time, I can think of a way. It's me who is using the technology. Me means, I mean, we as individuals, right? I can be smart to use technology to do something uh, which is monotonous. For example, very simple. I have some application in Java and I want to write in Python. Either I can spend that time and I can enable my team to learn Python and then do the development, or I can use a GenAI based application and convert that. So with individual people, I can just address one part of it. But if as a people, if as a person, I think of leveraging all the technology available right now to do it smartly, I can actually orchestrate lot of things. So that is one aspect because I mean, yeah, I work with IBM and we do lot of automation. We have lot of processes and technology tools, accelerators where we can help in improving the productivity of the things. That is one aspect of it. And the second thing is all the time when we talk about skilling, reskilling, we talk about technology. Okay. We talk about Java, we talk about C, C++, Python, and so on. We don't talk about problem solving, soft skills, right? Problem solving, critical thinking, decision making, all those skills. Nobody can take away those things. And those skills are irreplaceable. Whether you build a GenAI system or whether you are an excellent coder in Java, tomorrow if you have a problem solving skill, you would for sure be able to apply those skills. So I would think that those things we should focus on more on the soft skills part.
Thank you, Madhu.
Thank you. Yeah, so on the same line, it's like your architect can be orchestrators and open up it for the rest of the team also. Even if they are junior developer, they can contribute a
More,
huge amount
more
on that,
yes,
on
yeah,
your journey
yes,
overall.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. With that, thank you so much, Anu. Thank you so much, Madhu, for this time. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much. All the very best to everybody.
Thank you, guys. What a fantastic session. There were a lot of, use cases discussed, a lot of information. Let me call upon stage Rajeshwari, who's the session chair. Rajeshwari, are you here? Rajeshwari Devdas. All right, Zainab, since you're here, and I don't find Rajeshwari here, can you come up on stage, please? Zainab is also another session chair at our executive track. Zainab will hand over the mementos as a token of our appreciation.
Ten toes negative. Feel that? Feel that? Feel that? Any time of the day, better make way when we pull up. On a new wave when it come up. We got the high-end product, the conduct.
All right, thank you so much, guys.
Professional.
Thank you so much for a
Body,
wonderful
phenomenal.
session.
Innovate, unstoppable. Our MO, incomparable. The style, the skill, impeccable. You know that's what we do. We about to turn it up a notch. Better not be confused. No, we ain't stopping anytime soon. Ooh,